So what we got today is a 2008 Honda Accord, and my wife, when she used to take this to Sam's to get the tires rotated, looks like they were using an impact and they were just stripping out the lugs every time. So on this tire I've actually had to replace all 3 lugs. I've replaced 3 on the back, and on this other side I've done 4 on the other back, and I've had to replace 3 here. So took it to get new tires, and I asked them please don't use an impact wrench, and looks like they've broken this one off and they've broken one of the last ones on that, so I won't have to worry about it anymore. So I'm just going to show you guys how you can actually take this off and not have to replace your entire wheel hub assembly in the back like they tell you have to. So I'll get some light on it. First thing we're going to do is take off our brake caliper, and there's a 17mm socket at the top, and there's also one, if I can get some light on it, there's one on the bottom, which hopefully you can see that. But you just take off the 2 sockets, and then we can just kind of zip tie the caliper somewhere up. Once you have your caliper secured off the rotor, there's 2 little bitty screws to get the rotor off, and they strip extremely easy, so I've been having to use an impact screwdriver to be able to get them off. Make sure it's set not tightened. That's what I was talking about, the impact screwdriver set. I got mine from Harbor Freight. When you open it up, it has a bunch of impact rated sockets. It's just a gigantic screwdriver with an impact rated tip on the end, and if you have it set the correct direction, when you beat it on the back with a dead blow hammer or whatever, it's actually going to loosen as you punch it in. That way it's a lot less likely for you to strip anything. And that's what I use to get the rotor off. After you get your rotor off, you can kind of tell on one of the ones I've done before, if I can get to see it in focus, but maybe we can get some light to focus. You can tell where I flattened the head off right here, and I had to flatten it off on the side with a grinder because I also, it's hard to tell, it's rusted back over, but right here I took a Dremel tool and flattened out the metal on the hub part. That way I could just beat it past it. So what we're going to have to do on this one that they broke off is if you just take a little sawzall or any type of saw and just cut it off. I'm trying to get my hand over here when you see it, just anywhere in right where my fingernail would be, then you can just kind of tap it out from the other side. There's not enough room to get these things to come through. I also had to cut off, and you can tell right here on the little jagged edges, I had to cut off part of my I forgot what that thing's called. It just blocks the brake pad dust from getting all over your wheels. I had to cut part of it off, that way I could get down to where I'd dremeled it out to get that to beat through. But after you dremel that out and you beat that out, if people keep breaking your lug nuts off, it's not as bad to have to replace it. First time is a pain, but we'll go ahead and get this other one out, and I'm going to saw it off, and then I'll take it. Got it sawed off, and now we're just going to take a punch, screwdriver, whatever you got, and a little dead blow hammer, and just beat it out the other side. You get the rotor out, we end up having to go to the back here. We're going to cut, it's really close to get in there, but you just beat it out as far as you can go, and then you have to cut it with a DeWalt little sawzall, whatever you got. You have to cut it right where you can see the little threads. After you've cut it, you can just punch it out the front, and it'll come out of the back and just fall on the ground. And then if you have to do the front, always remember the front is a little bit longer than the back one, so make sure you buy the right ones. And then we're going to take it and we're going to grind down the side of it to where it's flat on a grinder. After you have it grinded down to where it's flat on that one end, then you can take it over to where you dremeled it a little bit over here, which on mine, you can see right there is where I dremeled it, just enough to where you can beat it past it. It's good if whenever you buy these, if you go ahead and buy 1 or 2 extra, because you might strip the threads out of them beating it in the first time to get the hole the size it needs to be. But just go ahead and buy 1 or 2 extra. And now we'll beat it in from the, have to beat it in from the back. So we'll start from back here and we'll beat it forward to come out that. So it's going to end up, you're going to have to beat it past the first part, and then it's going to kind of fall into place. It's hard to tell, but right there it fell into place. And then whenever you have it dremeled out here, you can continue beating till it comes out the front. You stack a bunch of washers and go ahead and put your lug nut on it, and you got a friend. There's
That's
a
me.
friend. He goes over to this other wheel and he's going to show you what he did.
So as Brian was, doing his thing, I was just hunkering down.
He's hunkering down and holding it.
Against it. There you go.
And then I'm over here with our 3/4 inch, and I'm tightening the crap out of this thing. And that seats it in the back. Put your rotor back on, put your calipers back on, and looks like we're ready to put the wheel back. Now we're on our back wheel, and back wheel is very similar except a lot easier. And you just go, and there's two. There's one of them you can kind of see right there to the right of your screen. 17 millimeter, and there's another one at the bottom that you have to use just a short extension to get out. Take those two out, same thing, secure your caliber somewhere. Then we're going to take the rotor out. Got to get those two little screws out, and we'll take our rotor out. This one's a lot easier. We'll just have to punch it out. There's no grinding. Once you have your rotor off and your caliber secured, you can tell which one Sam's completely screwed up. So all you got to do on it, it's a lot easier, is just take a hammer and beat it out the back, then beat the new one in from the back. That's about it.